Sorry about that. I am Sydney Winston. I'm an atheist, but I'm not an educator at all. Sam Vaknin, on the other hand, is. And with his help, he's a professional he's a professor of psychology. That's really bothering me. Get off. I thought that would look cool, but it doesn't. It doesn't feel cool. But I was just thinking of trying a different format. You know, I've been using the same format for for Von Helton, and I thought let's try something else. Introduce something that's a little balancing. I hope. So what I was thinking of is getting right to it, and here this is what I'm talking about. Well, before I do that, let me just tell you what the format is. The format today is going to be an 8-minute talk by Professor Vaknin explaining to you Von Helton, because we've all watched Von Helton over the years and we all have our opinions of him and his delusions, etc. But Sam Vaknin, he correlates it all together real to the point, and very succinctly, easy to understand. So yeah, we'll let's get into that.
Let me teach you a trick in therapy or counseling or consultation or whatever it is, whenever someone talks to another person with the intention to help. And this is the trick. Never focus on what people say. Focus on why they say it. Motivation behind the speech act, the intention behind the communication. They matter much more than the overt, explicit content. We call this the hidden text method. And it's studied deeply in philosophy and in the theory of psychotherapy. This applies doubly, triply, quintuply, infinitely more to any communication with a narcissist. And the reason is, the narcissist never communicates. It's an illusion. Whenever the narcissist says something to you, ignore what he says. Never mind what he says or what she says. Yes, half of all narcissists are women. Never mind what they say. Ask yourself, why is he saying this? Why did she choose the words she has chosen? What is behind the overt communication, the open text? And the reason is that, as I said, narcissists don't communicate unless they have goals. They're goal-oriented, exactly like psychopaths. And narcissists interact with you condescendingly, patronizingly, unwillingly, reluctantly, but still, sometimes, they have to communicate. They communicate with you in order to accomplish one of 4 goals. Their communication has an aim, has a purpose, and these are the goals. These are also the answers to the question, why is he saying this? Why did she choose to communicate this way? Reason number 1, the narcissist is trying to impress you, not to communicate with you, not to talk to you, not to listen to what you have to say. He's not interested. He couldn't care less. You don't exist. You're an external object. But the narcissist is trying to impress you, to convert you into a source of narcissistic supply, or into a potential intimate partner in a shared fantasy, or into a best friend which could be taken advantage of. Impression management is critical in narcissism. Narcissism places an emphasis on appearance rather than substance. And so the first possible answer, he is not communicating with me, she is not talking to me, they're trying to impress me, and they're trying to convert me to the cause, to the private religion where they have a God, the false self. The second reason is confabulation. Narcissists, as you may recall, suffer memory gaps. They have a problem with memory. Their memories are not continuous. Consequently, they don't have a core identity. In a desperate attempt to paper over the memory gaps, to bridge them, to bridge the abyss somehow, the narcissist confabulates. He creates short stories, narratives of what might have happened, what possibly could have happened, what plausibly had happened, etc., etc. And then he believes his own concoctions, his own inventions, his own narratives, his own storylines, and his own scripts, and he begins to regard them as facts because they emanated from him and he is God. Narcissists confabulate in order to make sense of their own lives and to create a semblance of continuous memory, continuous working memory, and consequently a fake identity. So the second reason a narcissist would communicate with you is that he is trying to confabulate. He is trying to explain to you what probably had happened, what could have happened, or what's the most plausible explanation for his behavior and choices and decisions and temper tantrums and outbursts, whatever. So, confabulation. The third reason is to support the narcissist's grandiosity and or shared fantasy. Narcissists use speech, they interact with you, they communicate with you, they talk at you, they never talk to you, they talk at you, they lecture. They're not there to listen, they're there to lecture. So, and they do all this in order to buttress their self-perception and their self-image as perfect, in order to somehow uphold and substantiate their grandiose, inflated sense of self. So the speech is structured and it aims to elevate the narcissist. It aims to deify the narcissist. It's a form of verbal apotheosis. And the speech is also intended to inculcate in you the belief that the narcissist's false self is not false, that the shared fantasy is not a fantasy, that the narcissist's grandiose claims are actually the truth. These are facts, and so on and so forth. This leads to the fourth reason. The fourth reason is manipulation, Machiavellian. Narcissists and psychopaths, of course, use speech, use communication in order to alter, modify your behaviors, your choices, and your decisions in ways which are palatable and helpful to the narcissist or the psychopath. In short, they use speech and communication to manipulate you, to do their bidding, to cater to their needs, to fulfill their expectations, to support them somehow, to provide them with what they're looking for. Could be sex, could be money, could be access, could be power in the case of the psychopath, narcissistic supply in the case of the narcissist. You're beginning to see that the narcissist communication, the narcissist speech, has nothing to do with the communication, speech acts and speech patterns of normal, healthy people. The narcissist communication and speech are weaponized. These are weapons. Weapons in an arsenal intended to provide the narcissist with the capacity to manage impressions, to confabulate, to support his grandiose, fantastic self-image, to introduce you or induct you or kidnap you into the shared fantasy, and ultimately to manipulate you so that you become compliant, submissive, obedient, and match fully your representation in the narcissist's mind, your introject, the avatar that stands in for you, your snapshot.
Okay, so that was von Helton. That was Sam Vaknin describing von Helton. And now, what I want to do is this. Now let's listen to what von Helton has to say with that in mind. Okay. Give me 1 sec. Something's wrong. Oh, no wonder. All right. So let me. I'm sorry. I didn't get any sleep last night, and I drove a long way today. So please forgive me. Okay. Which is why this is also late, I guess. So that's weird, eh? You know why? I just can't see anything. That's why. All right, let's get this on the road. I'm just gonna let it run because it's Von Helton, and we want to watch Von Helton. So go for it, Von Helton.
Well, in the you can't believe it's not butter category, Stevie Nicks was used by a pro-abortion rights activist to tout the fact that she had had an abortion when Fleetwood Mac was at its highest. And the father was Don Henley, by the way, so just so we're clear on that. I wonder what Don Henley was thinking at the time. I'd love to get his opinion on it. Anyways, but yeah, Stevie Nicks was sitting there touting the fact that, oh my God, my career would be ruined if I had this baby. And especially with it being Don Henley's baby, I don't know what difference that makes. But yeah, sitting there just, and this pro-abortion group was eating it up with a spoon. You know, look how brave she is because she killed her child. No, I wouldn't call that bravery. I would call that a synapse of the brain that isn't functioning properly. Because normally, in biology, women protect their unborn child. They don't kill them, okay? But somehow, those synapses in the brain that teach a woman to protect her baby have been fried, and she just went and killed the kid because she was told or believed, either one, that, oh my God, if I have this baby, it's going to ruin my career. Well, let me tell you something. Well, I can't tell you nothing, Stevie, because I think you're gone. And Don Henley, I think Don Henley's gone too. I think both of you are gone. But if you were still alive, I would remind you that my sister was in a band called The Three of Us. And she didn't have just one kid. She had two. She had two children. And they did just fine. Now, they had problems with the band later on because of other reasons. But it had nothing to do with her being pregnant or having kids. Not a damn thing. She had two kids, Stevie. And you pro-abortionists, she had two kids. It didn't ruin her career. She had a good time. She did just fine. And by the way, she also was a flaming communist. So now chew on that one for a minute. Oh, because I know you was going to say, oh, well, she was a Christian. No, she was a flaming communist. I used to get in arguments with her all the time. I should know. She was a flaming commie, buddy. She idolized Barbra Streisand and some of these other communists. She idolized them. Used to have Barbra Streisand albums, if I recall correctly. But yeah, she idolized them, man. She wasn't no Christian. She was a flaming commie. But yet, she didn't have an abortion either. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe because the synapses of her brain hadn't been fried enough. Huh? See, according to biology, not Von Helton's opinion, biology, okay, women naturally protect their unborn child. That is an ingrained thing in a female human being, to protect that unborn child, as it is in all females, but mostly humans especially. But somehow that all got fried. That all got burned up or something. Because it didn't work, did it? No. Because the natural instinct of a woman is to protect her unborn child, not kill it. So somewhere along the line, those synapses of the brain have gotten fried or calcified or something. Something happened to cause that to happen, right? So I'm sorry, Stevie, but you're not the quote of the day for the pro-abortionists. Because my sister was in a band, and she didn't have just one kid, she had two. And it didn't bother her band at all. Now, like I said, they had complications later on. I think there was a dust-up with the drummer or something later on. But it had nothing to do with her being pregnant or having children. That didn't affect the band at all. None. Zero. So nice try there, Stevie. And you pro-abortionists, nice try. Because it didn't work. Didn't work. Not for my sister. My sister, and like I said, my sister was a flaming commie. So you can't say she was a Christian or use some other excuse. And she did just fine. And the band did just fine until they had to dust up with the drummer. Everything was fine. So I'm sorry. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. Anyways, decided I'd share. Because that's what's out there now. Is all this talk about, Stevie Nicks was so brave for killing her baby. But here's the kicker. I almost forgot. This is the kicker. This is what's going to get you. Even if you're an atheist, this will get you. She was on pills. She was on the patch. She was on an IUD. And Henley, if I understand the story correctly, Henley even wore rubber. And she still got pregnant? You know what that is, folks? That's an absolute fucking miracle, because there's no way with all that shit going on that she could have got pregnant, unless the gods willed it. Now you say, well, Vaughn, why would the gods allow her to get pregnant just for her to kill it? To test her. It was a test, and Stevie Nicks failed that test. Massively. She failed the test. How many times are we tested? Okay, Sharpie, calm down. Calm down. He probably sees another dog. Every time he sees a dog now, he starts barking. Anyways, but yeah, that was a test. She failed that test. How many times have we tested in life, man? They say, well, Vaughn, then God's allowed that baby to die. Well, now, wait a minute. No, they didn't. Stevie Nicks killed that child. Not the gods. Gods did not kill that child. Stevie Nicks killed that child. Let's get it straight, folks. Let's not get it twisted. There was, and even back then. Now, granted, it was the 70s back then, and we didn't have the technology we had today. Because today we have artificial wombs, we have surrogate mothers now, we have all this stuff that we can do. And admittedly, back in the 70s, we didn't have all this stuff. But there was still no reason to kill the child. None. There was no reason other than the fact that she wanted to. Simple as that. She just wanted to. Just wanted to kill it. So somewhere the biological clock that tells her to protect that child was broken, wasn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No question about it. Somehow the synapses of the brain that tell her to protect her child were broken. Because she obviously didn't. So that's something to be investigated, I think. Maybe it's the calcification of the pineal gland. There's a lot of talk about that. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But it's just interesting, how no other female on earth will kill their children except humans. Wonder why that is. Any idea? Anybody got any ideas? I'd love to hear them. Anyways, I just thought I'd share because it came across my feed, and it is news. So, me, I report on the news. And, the pro-abortionists, though, are eating this shit up with a spoon. Oh, look how brave she was, because she killed her baby. I don't think that has anything to do with being brave. In fact, quite the opposite. I would consider that cowardice. It would be more brave to say, "Hey, I'm gonna work through this," rather than to just give up, right? Whatever. And I'm sure I'm gonna get all kinds of hate mail, but that's okay. I don't give a shit. Because, like I said, my sister had 2 children, and she was in a band. They never had no problems, not that I'm aware of. So, oh well. Anyways, thought I'd share. Have a good one, folks. Bye.
I have no words, man. I don't know. Do I really enjoy watching stupid? I guess I do. Hey, Andrea. Von Helton sucks hairy balls. Yeah, that he does. That's why he's always got all that hair in his mouth that he's trying to get rid of. And he called Stevie Nicks a murderer. Didn't he have 2 children? Actually, didn't he inseminate females with at least 2 children which were born alive but are no longer alive? Von Helton? What's that all about, Von Helton? You never talk about that. You never talk about how you had any part in their deaths, and you must have. I mean, I did. I don't know, but you must have. I heard it. I heard it. One of your trolls said it, so it must be true, huh? God, contemptible this man is. Where do you think this is all going to go? Where do you think this is all going with Von Helton, etc.? Because you know who does a good job of putting out Von Helton stuff? Nats in the Pizza. He gets some good editing in there. Me, I'm too lazy. I'll do it live, and however it turns out, right? But yeah, that's it. It's live, and it's over. So thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.